Well, good morning. Welcome to the Salesforce Transit Center. What a great day it is today. I'm Jeff G., the chair of the Transbay Joint Powers Authority, the TJPA. Thank you all for joining us here today as we celebrate a major milestone for the decades-long vision of the Transbay program, bringing Caltrain to the Salesforce Transit Center and ultimately the California High-Speed Rail into its northern terminus in downtown San Francisco through the portal. Today marks a momentous milestone for the portal with the Federal Transit Administration's advancement of the project into the engineering phase of the Capital Investment Grants Program and committing a federal share of $3.4 billion to its construction. This brings the project to 2/3 funded. The funding commitment was preceded by an advance appropriation of $500 million in the President's FY25 budget proposal. The portal is the final component to be delivered through the transformational Transbay program, which ushered in a wholesale expansion and modernization of downtown San Francisco and created the largest multimodal transit hub in the Western United States. As I look out across the Grand Hall this morning, I want to take a moment to recognize our partners who have been instrumental in getting us to where we are today. In addition to the speakers we have here with us on stage this morning, projects of this scale and magnitude require many skillful hands. Not only the tens of thousands of skilled tradesmen and women who constructed this magnificent building, but the architects, policymakers, funders, political leaders, and countless staff who ensured it was funded and would get built. I'd like to also make a shout out to the Honorable Willie Brown and former State Senator and Congressman John Burton for their vision and their relentlessness getting the Transbay program underway and constructing the Salesforce Transit Center. Yes. As the current chair of the Transbay Joint Powers Authority, I also want to recognize my fellow board members and project partners working tirelessly and collaboratively on the portal. Vice Chair Supervisor Raphael Mendelman helped secure the passage of Prop L, the extension of San Francisco's half-cent sales tax for transportation, securing $300 million for the portal. I also see fellow board members, Spur President and CEO Alicia John Baptiste. We also have Caltrans District 4 Director Dina El Tawanzi and District 4 Director, Assistant Deputy District Director David Ambule, Northern California Regional Director of High Speed Rail Boris Lipkin, as well as San Francisco County Transportation Authority Executive Tilly Chang, MTC Deputy Executive Director Alex Brockelman, and Caltrain Executive Director Michelle Bouchard. Thank you all for being here. And looking across the crowd, we probably have Assemblymember Phil Ting, City Attorney David Chu, Bay Area Council Executive Director Jim Wunderman, all who have led countless efforts on the local, regional, and state levels to create a more seamless transit network and to secure additional transportation funds, including for the portal project. As I mentioned earlier, $3.4 billion. This commitment links two other major federal investments. The already constructed two-level train box beneath us, waiting for an electrified Caltrain to come into downtown San Francisco. The other major project that I'm very proud of as a director and past chair of Caltrain is the electrification, which achieved substantial completion earlier this month. An electrified Caltrain, quieter, faster, more sustainable connection between San Francisco and Silicon Valley. Huge investments into the region that's going to make a huge difference for the San Francisco Bay Area. And in thinking about the train box underneath us, I want to take a moment to recognize our steadfast and ardent champions, Speaker Emerita Pelosi. Thank you. In 2010, she was the driving force behind the Obama administration's decision to provide $400 million to build the train box through the American Reinvestment and Recovery Act, funding that propelled economic activity and put people back to work during the Great Recession. With the train box built, it is no longer a matter of if, but when rail service will come into the transit center. With the $34.4 billion commitment, we can continue to work in earnest with our partners on the federal, state, regional, and local levels to deliver on the portal. As I wrap up, I want to thank our TJPA staff, our partners and supporters, because they're all here today, for all that you have done to get us to where we are today, and for joining us in this celebration of this momentous milestone. We still have a lot of work to do, but with the support here of all of you and others, we will get the job done. It is now my honor and pleasure to introduce California State Senator Scott Wiener.
Thank you, Chair G. This is just incredibly exciting for those of us who have been working on regional transportation funding for many, many years. This is one of those visionary projects that sometimes you commit to doing it, but it's just so big in scale. Seeing these huge milestones is just incredibly powerful. So congratulations and thank you to the entire TJPA family, to the staff, to the board, to all of the workers who make this possible. Thank you. And thank you to Speaker Emerita Pelosi for never, ever, ever giving up on the transportation future of San Francisco and the Bay Area. You know, there have been a lot of naysayers in the last few years. There are always naysayers, but the naysayers have been a little louder in the last few years. They've been very loud in sort of criticizing and denigrating San Francisco. And of course, we know that they're wrong. The city, it never went away, and it is coming back strong. And I'm so optimistic about the future of San Francisco, including our downtown. And we are really, in so many ways, in the heart of it. And this is just incredibly exciting for the future of this neighborhood, future of San Francisco, and the future of the Bay Area, which is very, very bright, the naysayers notwithstanding. We've also heard a lot of naysaying about transportation projects and claiming that that's never going to happen, and that is just false. High-speed rail is going to happen. This project is happening, and I am very, very excited about what that means for our city and for our region. And what it means is that this region is going to be more and more tightly connected and integrated. The era of having different parts of the Bay Area that aren't really that attached to each other is ending. And we are moving towards a truly integrated and seamless Bay Area public transportation system, and particularly a rail system, where you'll be able to be in pretty much any part of the Bay Area and be able to hop on a train and in a very seamless way connect to another system if you need to and get where you're going and not have to drive and not have to worry about it. And that's what this is about. This is going to be the beating heart of that integrated, seamless regional rail system, and that is incredibly exciting. And I am just so grateful to the federal government, to Speaker Pelosi, for really making this happen. I also just want to say, and I would be remiss if I didn't, that building all of this transportation infrastructure is incredibly important, and without it, we can't operate our transit systems. But it's not enough, and we have to make sure that all of the amazing public transportation systems that will be feeding into this building in such a robust way, that we keep them strong, that they have the funding and the support that they need to actually operate on a day-to-day and year-to-year basis. And we've been doing that work from the state level. It's happening locally and regionally. And so we have to make sure that as we do these capital investments, we are also supporting these incredibly important public transportation systems, which are so important for the future of our city and our region. So congratulations to everyone. It's now my honor to bring up someone who has been just a great champion for public transportation, and it's just an incredible cheerleader for bringing San Francisco back, the mayor of San Francisco, London Breed.
Thank you, Senator. Speaking of cheerleading, you all don't look as excited as you should for $3.4 billion. Goodness, Madam Speaker. Bringing home the bacon. This brings us 2/3 of the way towards completely doing what's necessary to ensure that this portal is an opportunity for 11 different kinds of transit options in the Bay Area. It's a big deal. I remember the old station. So that's why I'm really excited, because I used to take Greyhound when I was at UC Davis, and it was not pretty. And look at where we are now. Look at how far we've come, and I am hopeful. I mean, you would think that something like this would have already existed in San Francisco. And working with the TJPA for the past 30 years now to really make this vision a reality, it's gonna be something extraordinary. You go to places like New York and other places around the country who have robust transportation networks, I am typically envious. Their cities are not as beautiful as San Francisco, but their transit options are extraordinary. And we are taking it one step further to ensure that we are addressing a transportation challenge that exists in San Francisco: connectivity. People are talking about the downtown of San Francisco now more than ever. And we have a commitment, 30 by 30, to bring 30,000 residents to our downtown by 2030. But because of the portal, we have already brought 15,000 residents and more to come. But downtown cannot be a 9 to 5. It has to be offices, housing, and places for people to enjoy, because it is a real neighborhood with a park right above our heads that we can enjoy on any given day. That is the future. That is the future, and it takes strong advocacy, visionary leadership, and someone who just will not give up and is relentless in not only saving our democracy, but also making sure that she is taking care of San Francisco every time she steps on the floor of the House of Representatives. I want to say, Madam Speaker, thank you so much for all that you have done and continue to do to invest in, support, and uplift San Francisco. We appreciate you so much. And let me also thank our President, Joe Biden, and the Secretary of the Department of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg. I get a call from him every time there's money, because there's been a lot of money, not $3.4 billion money, but $1 million money coming into San Francisco for our transportation projects. And because I think he was a former mayor, he is always calling me as a mayor to say, hey, Mayor, and I'm like, hey, Mayor, Secretary, and just letting us know we are committed to San Francisco. We're going to invest in San Francisco. So we truly appreciate his leadership, as well as our president's leadership and all that he does. And I finally want to give a shout out to the hands that will continue to build this project into the future, the community of labor, including the building and construction trade, as well as the laborers and others We appreciate their work and their advocacy. And now, at this time, I'd like to introduce from the Building and Construction Trades, Rudy Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for your leadership and the introduction. Good morning. I want to second the mayor's energy because this is a moment of celebration. And while many of us are going to lean toward our bureaucratic and technical tendencies and look at the schematics and look at the slide decks, and I see my good friend Bruce from the Community Advisory Committee, and everyone's talking about what's tomorrow, what's tomorrow. Let's take a moment and celebrate today. Let's be in awe of this beautiful structure and in complete recognition of the moment we find ourselves in our local economy, notwithstanding the backdrop of what's happening federally, because let's be clear, Secretary Pete will not call you if people make a mistake this November. And while they're in official capacities, my job representing blue-collar workers is to tell it like it is. And if we don't vote in November, we will not have the billions, and we will not have the jobs, and we will not have the critical infrastructure to keep our country moving. We are enjoying a renaissance in infrastructure. Saying goodbye to a time when infrastructure was a bad word, when it divided communities, when it lifted up systems of oppression, when it eminent domained people's thriving, otherwise multi-generational communities. Now, infrastructure is a good word. It is a clean word. It is a green word. It means good jobs for our communities. It means healthier outcomes. It means more access to housing, right, Senator? More access to public transportation. And this isn't tomorrow. Let's celebrate. This is today. There are bus lines, there are bus operators, there are building services employees. I did a ground floor walk just before we came in. And Jim, it may be scary to say that construction workers at 10 o'clock in the morning outnumbered office workers 3-1. But I went through Charlie's and there were 3 electricians. And I saw 2 operating engineers walking into Vanga Empanada as I was walking out. And there were hard hats over there at Phil's Coffee. When you put money in the pockets of blue-collar workers, we spend that money. And we don't take it home to Texas to spend it. We spend it right here where we have our jobs. So for that, I'm truly grateful and I'm excited because this already is a thriving piece of community infrastructure. From the park on the top floor to the otherwise kind of dark and quiet train box, I look forward to a time when we can all celebrate downstairs, many stories downstairs, in a mezzanine level of 50,000 square feet of retail, and the good jobs that come with it. And I also know that people across the country are counting on us to deliver this project. They're counting on all of you to vote in November too, because 47 out of 50 states, when you think about material suppliers and handlers, when you think about other vendors, 47 out of 50 states in this country actually enjoyed economic vitality because of the first phase of this project. And sure, we had 16,500 union workers and community members on this job in the first phase, but we had 60,000 workers across the country feel the impact of phase 1 of DTX. The portal is going to bring us twice that much, and it's going to bring twice that much to the nation. So we're really excited to be here. It's intermodal transportation. It's intermodal cooperation. We have leaders from all over the community, and I'm proud to say that San Mateo County is in the house. We can give it up for San Mateo County a little bit, right? All right? We have regional trade partners. We have regional workers. To the skilled and trained hands that built the first phase, this is the promise of putting our members back to work. We're not going to let people trash our downtown. We're not going to let people speak poorly of San Francisco. We are the city that knows how, and we have a skilled and trained workforce, whether they're engineers, operators, laborers, electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, you name it, we have a workforce ready to deploy, ready for phase 2. And if we do what we're supposed to do in November, I hope to stand here once again and have the distinct privilege of inviting up to the stage someone who not only talks the walk, walks the walk, you walk that walk more energetically than some of my apprentices, Madam Speaker, but also understands that these commitments cannot be talking points. These commitments have to be accompanied by votes. Because let's face facts, we had people, prior speakers of the Republican-held House, speak out against funding for projects like this, make public promises and commitments to roll back every prevailing wage job in California. and to do away with high-speed rail. Now, they were certainly happy when it passed because there were plenty of pet projects to fund in their districts, but we must remember in November, and we must go to the polls like our lives and our democracy depend on it. And I know I'll sleep better at night knowing that our congressional representative is the one and the only, the Speaker Emerita, Nancy Pelosi. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your vision. And thank you for keeping our people working, Madam Speaker.
Thank you all. Thank you very much, Rudy, for not only your kind introduction, but your great leadership of the building trades. Yes, today is cause for celebration. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for bringing us together and framing the purpose of today and the history of it and the future of it. Thank you. Let's hear from Mr. Mayor, Mayor G. Redwood City, and of course, the chair of the TJPA board. Adam, thank you very much. I don't know if Adam was acknowledged. Adam Van de Water, who is the executive director of the Transbay Joint Powers Authority. Thank you, Adam. Adam and I have our, shall we say, enthusiasms that we discuss from time to time. Now, all of you understand this. We have a transit-oriented president of the United States. Every day for decades, he took the train from Delaware to Washington and back. So when we talked to him about high-speed rail and mass transit and the rest, he said, "You don't have to tell me, I'm the high-speed rail president. We'll give you an opportunity to prove that." And he did. In our infrastructure bill, which we passed under his leadership. And you should know, I'll take this opportunity to tell you that in it, because something Rudy said about justice and not dividing communities, he had 40% of the bill dedicated to justice, to equity, to disparity, to have many more people included in the decision-making on projects, as well as the participation in the workforce. And we had no intention of fighting for big money for allocation, Madam Mayor, than if it was not going to have project labor agreements, was not going to have Davis-Bacon prevailing wage for our workers. He understood that. And the jobs created by the construction, not here, but like 10,000 in Fresno right now building that part of the high-speed rail. But we're talking about San Francisco today. So, Madam Mayor, when you get a call from Secretary Buttigieg and he's informing you of a project, take it as a big, not only notification, but a compliment, because all those projects are competed for. And when we put in for the competition, we show that San Francisco is in the forefront, that San Francisco is a model for the nation. And that's not just about us saying, we need this, we need that. It's about showing off what's happening here. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for your leadership in that regard, because we wouldn't get the money just because we fight harder. We get the money because we are better. And again, a model to the nation in every one of those categories. And of course, those categories go beyond transportation. So San Francisco rules. I mean, it's just an example. And sometimes I think people are just jealous of us, and then they have to be their naysayer selves. But Mr. Leader, Senator Wiener, we don't pay any attention to naysayers. That's their problem. But understand what is happening here. And I'm glad that John Burton was acknowledged, because this project was his. I remember the swearing-in day. The dedication day, we had to wear boots that day because we were really under construction. And you see the beautiful artwork that goes with it. You see that? That's so lovely. But the art has been part of the transportation piece of it too, elevating it so that it is a very positive experience for people and a demonstration of the completeness of San Francisco and its contribution to the effort. Okay, so here it is, mass transit, but take it beyond that to high-speed rail. This is about saving the planet. It's about clean air. It's about people. It's about quality of the air. It's about quality of the life, quality of people not having to be in their cars for long stints adding to pollution, but nonetheless getting to and from work more quickly, adding time to their lives. And it's about housing, that people can come from places where housing may not be as expensive it is in where the workforce is. And your district, Mr. Mayor, in Redwood City, Silicon Valley, and San Francisco, but that housing can be more affordable to them at a place that is not a 3-hour commute each day, but much, much shorter. So it's about quality of life, quality of air, housing, so many things. It certainly is about the jobs in building the initiative, right? Thousands of jobs in building it, but it's also about the commerce that is produced and the jobs for the future. As you said, it's not just about today, it's about how we go forward. And California will be, has been and continue to be, but on this high-speed rail, a model for the rest of the country. In other countries, I've been to high-speed rail in China, I've been to high-speed rail in Japan, all the rest. I was on a project in China where a city, Shenzhen on the coast, was about 3 hours from Beijing, equivalent of going like to Fresno. So I told them I want to go see that city because they were making electric cars. It was a few years ago. And we get on the train, we go there, we arrive, the conductor announces, we have arrived in Shenzhen 29 minutes and 30 seconds. Less than a half an hour, he was bragging. But they can commute. They can commute. So just think of the opportunity it presents families, for jobs, for education, for visiting each other, for being together, as the mayor said, connectivity in every way. So this is a big deal. I didn't use the president's expression, but you get it right. It's about good paying jobs in San Francisco, convenient, modern, mixed use, commercial development, a transit-friendly neighborhood with 4,000 environmentally friendly areas. Just read you some of this. Smart, sustainable design, again, under the leadership of the Biden-Harris administration, major steps in multimodal transportation network in our city. Mayor, you know that we had the celebration of electrification is a big deal. I mean, it's, how can you say it? I don't know any metaphor. It's just something remarkable that just takes us to another place. Anna Eshoo, Zoe Lofgren, now Kevin Mullen, Jackie Spear before, all so much a part of that celebration. And Senator Wiener, again, in DC, when we're competing for the funds, it's not only about our excellence, but it's about our, shall we say, determination that it's going to happen. And they want to see, what is the state going to do? And thank you for what you have done and the state's role in this. They want to see what the city is going to do. So we have an expression, it sounds a little crude, but, you know, you can handle it, I think. We say when we want to allocate money, we want to see dirt fly. We don't want to go to court. We don't want to go to that. We don't want to that. You have to have our act together, so that when the money comes, the process can go forward. And I think that happily, with all of this, for all that has been said, I associate myself with remarks with all the steps along the way, that we will happily see dirt fly. In addition to that, I always say to all of you, you talk about the unions, the construction workers, the architects, the business, the construction, all the rest of that. When it comes to transportation, whether it's about clean air, quality of life, quality of air, housing, commerce, and all the rest, when it comes to transportation, our hopes are riding on you. Thank you all so much for what you all did to make this possible.
Speaker Emerita Pelosi, Mr. Gonzalez, State Senator Wiener, London Breed, Mayor Breed, sorry. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for celebrating this momentous occasion. I just want to conclude and say, let's get ready and let's make dirt fly. Thank you for being here.